Hello there guys, my name is Nicholas Morrison here, Forbes Waterloo Toyota, and I'm here with a video for you guys where a very common question we get in the Toyota lineup and all the time when people are buying cars today is, why hybrid? And what is hybrid? How does it work? And which one is right for me? So I figured I'd put together a quick little video. I'd talk about some of the major components of, at this point, why hybrid, what the major advantages are, and what it looks like. So we're gonna touch a little bit on the reliability of it, the cost of it, and overall my opinion of drivability of why I like hybrids. Have you driven an EV yourself? Have you had the opportunity to get behind an electric hybrid powertrain? Come on down to Forbes Waterloo Toyota. Let me take you for your first drive and let's experience how these vehicles work for you. Drop a comment down below. Tell me what your first experience was like, or if there's something you want to learn about, please let me know. Hit the link in the comments for a special incentive on your next hybrid purchase. We'd love to help you out here at Forbes Waterloo Toyota. Thanks for watching. We'll start right up front with the major first thing. And like I said, in my opinion, that's reliability. If we talk overall about the hybrid systems, at this point, Toyota's been doing it for 30 years. The Prius is where it all started for us. We've been doing this models since the 90s. And at this point, Toyota, it's our bread and butter. The simplest way to think of a hybrid system is what it's doing is any excess power that your vehicle would normally waste, both through braking energy and excess engine power, it actually is able to store that energy, put it into a battery pack, and then anytime it can pull that power, it will. Simplest way to think of it, it's just essentially taking wasted power that your normal combustion engine would have wasted and using it for the vehicle. There are stages to that. So that's a common question we get. We do have models that are completely self-contained. We have models that have a plug-in option. And then of course we have a full EV option as well. So it really depends about which model is right for you. And honestly, we understand that all of you may not need an EV. So that's where something like a plug-in hybrid or the traditional hybrids come into play. But we're really approaching that point where really hybrid's gonna be standard, it's gonna be normal, and it's just gonna be how we're gonna make cars moving forward. So the more that we can teach you about them, the better. Up front is where the vehicle starts. So on the engine, there's a few major things that you'll notice. In most of our vehicles, not all, but most of our vehicles, the combustion engine is the exact same in our traditional. So for example, the RAV4, it's the same 2.5 liter engine that's in our combustion engine. And then they add 2 electric motors to the side of the engine for your front wheel drive option. And then if you have a rear wheel drive option, there's a 3rd electric motor on the rear axle. With all of that electric power, we're able to eliminate a lot of common wear items. So this is where it really starts to show that teeth right away of better reliability. Up front, you have no alternator on the vehicle and you have no starter on the vehicle. All of that power is taken from the hybrid system. And because of that, you don't also then need an accessory belt. So you now also don't have any tensioners, a serpentine belt, or any of that on the front of the engine. So a lot of your very, very common wear items aren't even present anymore on the vehicle. Your water pump also becomes a plug and play, easy in and out type part. It's again, not intertwined with those tensioners and pulleys. So a lot of times when you do a water pump, you would then also have to do tensioners and pulleys and it would turn into a $1,200 big repair, simple in and out in a hybrid vehicle. So some very, very nice savings right up front. As you go through the vehicle, there's a lot of really nice technology that comes with it as well. So one of the next big ones is almost all of our hybrid vehicles also become all-wheel drive very easily. Our ability to distribute power with an electric system is very, very easy. So in turn, we don't need a transfer case off of the engine or any drive shafts from the actual engine going to the rear axle. So again, a lot of very common wear items and very expensive mechanical fixes that are no longer even on the vehicle. As well, that all-wheel drive system being electric-based is much more dynamic. Our ability to move power from one set of wheels to the other, from one singular wheel to another is very, very simple and doesn't require a lot of dynamic mechanical parts to accomplish that. So in turn, you get a better performance system while also being more fuel efficient, kind of a win-win there as well. You'll also notice a lot of really, really nice touches. Stuff like a lot of these, we've got into things like eco heating modes, a lot of eco and sport drive modes, that'll really allow a lot of ability to use the additional power that the hybrid provides. So not only are all of our hybrids more efficient, but they also have the ability to be much more exciting. You're actually adding power while being efficient. So if you have it in eco mode and you just want to get to work every day and save, that 15 up to sometimes even as high as 40% of your fuel from your traditional combustion engine, that's where the hybrids come into play. Put it in eco mode and just focus on saving fuel. But conversely, if you had a V6 in previous years, if you had something with a lot of power and you miss that power, maybe you had a turbo and you really want that instant power delivery on your pedal. That's where the hybrid engines really come back into play for a lot of folks like yourselves, because it is still combustion-based power, so it's still gonna feel like home for you, but you get a lot of help from that electric motor. And the nice thing is it's instant delivery. So it feels really good to drive. And my opinion personally, It doesn't feel like an electric, it feels like a combustion power engine with extra power, with almost a turbo type feel, but it's hybrid based, so it's very efficient. So definitely something worth trying out. One of the other major components that these vehicles bring, so I touched on the fact that a lot of your power comes from regenerative braking. So that is one of the major ways that you're gonna see a benefit from the vehicle. It's something that when I commonly talk to folks, if you ever want to learn a trick on a new vehicle, that's the one talent that you can kind of work on is the regenerative braking aspect. But quite honestly, it isn't something you need to work on. You can drive the exact same as the vehicle you've driven. But if you're looking just to stretch that fuel economy, that's how you would do it. The regenerative braking, and so essentially what that is the minute you get off your accelerator, the regenerative braking, that electric motor is going to start turning backwards and regenerating power back to your batteries. As you apply your brakes, you can actually force that sort of engagement a little harder, and it adds more charging to it. So that sort of becomes your trick of applying your brakes while not actually engaging your brakes, if that makes sense. So the perfect curve, if you're ever to watch a graph, is that about 90% of your braking effort is done through the regenerative system. And then essentially that last little bite, when you actually reach a stop at a red light, that last little 10% is where it'll bite and stop the car. So the major thing is what you're striving for is just that smoothness, both on acceleration and on braking, and it'll really go a long way actually to make the car more efficient. So it's kind of a two-way street where the more you kind of work on driving smoothly, it'll also reward you by giving you better fuel economy. And kind of the nice extra bonus of that is we've actually heard quite a few cases of folks taking the braking intervals, from that traditional 60 to 100,000 kilometer type braking interval, much higher, up into that 2, 3, and the craziest one I ever heard is a cab driver out in BC who's at about 450K on his first set of brakes though. So it's quite cool to see the real world applications of what folks do with these, and generally the cab drivers are our best indicators for mileage on that. So very cool to see. Once you get into the vehicle, a lot of people with the hybrids generally default right away to cost analysis of the vehicle. So when you start to account for all of those maintenance items that I mentioned in terms of those being cheaper, from there a lot of people look at the compensation of, well, I'm paying additional money for this engine, what does that cost me? And a lot of people go right directly to fuel economy. And of course, that's a piece of it. You will see some additional fuel economy decreases as well. Like I said, depending whether you're a more city-heavy driver, you'll see a larger benefit. If you're more of a highway-based, you'll see a smaller amount of benefit. But overall, even on those highway applications, the average driver will still see at least about a 20% fuel decrease from that same vehicle with a combustion engine. On the high end, for folks that are very city, we see those 40 and 50% fuel decrease numbers. So it really comes down to a lot of how you drive. But personally, I don't generally get too much into the fuel economy conversation for why you should buy it. I talk about all those maintenance things. And then the next stage, of course, is resale value. The market for Toyota, we're about 60-ish% or so hybrid at this point. Every year that percentage is growing. And again, we're gonna get to that point where we're gonna be hybrid only. A good portion of our lineup, the Crown Signia being one, the Prius being one, we have quite a few vehicles now that are actually no longer offered at all in a standard combustion engine. The hybrid is becoming our standard. So being left with that technology in 10 years, purchasing a hybrid, having that technology is gonna help a lot with your resale value. Because by the time we get there, you're really going to be left with a dinosaur of technology if you don't have that hybrid engine. So kind of a two-way street where you save all along the way, but then when it comes time, a majority of that money you paid for that hybrid engine, I imagine you'll be rewarded with it back. So that's something that's a bit of an opinion, but I think that's kind of how it's going to work out. And then the number one thing with these hybrids that we get asked all the time, and it's really important to talk about, is truly, if you don't believe in the technology, if better fuel economy and all of that is like, I'm not sure, and maybe you're looking at a RAV4 where you don't have the choice anymore and you have to buy a RAV4 hybrid. The major thing to understand is that if you don't quite believe in the technology yet, Toyota does. They have loaded these things up with a whack load of warranty. So every single component in this vehicle, or all the hybrid components, you have an 8-year, 160,000 kilometer warranty on every hybrid component in this vehicle. And then the batteries, they go even a step further. We've proven that they work. They've been around a while. They've actually extended that out to a 10-year, 240,000 kilometer warranty. So a whack load of life behind it. In Canada, that almost comes out to the average life of a vehicle, let alone second and third and fourth owners. So it really positions itself that generally the entire time you own the vehicle, all of those new components that you're uncomfortable with or that are new to you will be under warranty the whole time. We've got your back. We're here to take care of you. So truly, the hybrid, we're at that point. It's a why not question. Come on down, take one of these for a drive yourself. Truly, I've got young kids. I talk about it all the time. It puts them to sleep. It's so smooth. The way it drives is lovely. So it's one I suggest, come on out, try it for yourself, have a conversation with one of us. Learn about the batteries yourselves. If you want to get tech involved and actually learn, we're here to help. We understand it's new, it's different, but it's truly here to stay, and it's technology. Like I said, it's going to become standard, and it's really here to help. From there, it's just a conversation of, whether you would like a normal hybrid, if you'd like to go up to a plug-in or to a full EV. There's stages for it, and it's truly about finding the one that's right for you. So thank you very much for watching. Please drop a comment down below. Subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions about hybrid, if there's anything you want to learn, please let me know, and I can do another video showing you guys a few good tricks. Thank you very much for watching. This is Nicholas Morrison at Waterloo Toyota. Thank you very much.